welcome to Hearties. This is the official after show and podcast of the fandom, where we bring your questions directly to our cast and crew. I'm Marg from San Diego.
I'm Dawn from North Carolina.
And joining us after a long week of writing are Allie, Devereaux, Liam Fearnley, and Joy Gregory.
Yay!
Hey.
It's so long.
You guys are so nice to, work on season 13, as we know you are, all day, and then come and talk to us about season 12. That's very exciting. Thank you so much.
We're
Yay.
happy to be here.
How long have you been working on season 13?
We convened the writers' room 6 weeks ago. We just wrapped up week 6.
Wow. Clandestine meetings. It's a beautiful thing. Secret writers meetings. I love it.
Oh man. And we want to be the fly on the wall. Just telling you.
We do. I'm gonna wear that monkey mask and just hang out.
My monkey mask. I always get questions about it. Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's like Planet of the Apes.
Joy, I've worked with you for 2 years and have never noticed it.
Oh, really?
That's all I
sound like monkey mask. What are you talking about?
That's funny.
So funny. Well, mostly this is just so we can shower you with adoring comments from the Hearties. So, of which we had many, but we wondered over the course of the season, was there a particular remark from a Heartie that touched or made you laugh or maybe may have even made you angry? Who knows? Allie, we'll start with you. Did you have anything that you recalled from?
Yeah, so I live tweeted a little bit this year, and I saw for episode 4 a lot of Hearties posting about their own first dances, and some of them were like really magical, like Allie's, or some people a little less so, like Molly's. So it was just cool to see everyone sort of connect to the story in their own way and hear their experiences. And there's Hearties of all different ages, so it was all sorts of different dances in time as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so cool that it evoked those memories. Okay, Joy, what about you?
I greatly enjoyed the emerging meme subculture tribute to Lucas's forelock when he was roping the calf. As soon as I saw it in editing, I was delighted by it, and it deserves its own Instagram account.
Oh, I'm sure there's somewhere. It's the Hair of Glory. I think that's what they call it.
Hair of Glory. It truly was majestic. Yes.
Okay, so more for Hair of Glory, please. Liam, what struck you?
I saw something somewhere. I don't remember where it was, but it was about the gold discovery in episode 12 and how it felt like a national treasure moment. And I just love that because that movie was literally our inspiration when we were crafting that big reveal. So if other people figured that out, then we did our job.
I love it. Yeah, no, they totally did with the lemon juice and the whole thing. I love that. Very cool.
So we had a poll in our Facebook group. I mean, unscientifically done, just random, but we had a lot of options for their top tier of what the storylines would be. So for this one was talking about comedic timing and things like that. So starting with our favorite comedic scenes for the season. Any guesses? What do you think? Maybe the 1 or 2 that you think that they would say, okay, that's the best.
My 2 guesses were Rosemary and Elizabeth with Ava's trunk hiding from being seen, or Jack Wagner's delightful line reading on "Come on, Nathan, get with the times."
That was so funny.
With the snap.
Yeah. But you're almost there for some of those. So, but good. Okay. Allie? Liam?
Okay, I was guessing possibly beekeeping disguise. because I loved that. And this might be funny just to me, but when like Ned Rothgar was doing the sound effects of the radio play, I was in stitch. I'm still every time I watch it, I'm in stitches. I just love it so much. The kiss, but even more so than the kiss, the shoes, the clomping of the shoes. I love it so much.
That priceless.
And his
Priceless.
little dancing in
Yeah.
the last episode too was so darling. Oh, Ned, I tell
Yeah,
you.
I love Ned. I just the comic relief. But
Mhm.
those are good. Those are
Both
good.
of those were on the list. Both of
Kind
those
of hit
made
it
the
now.
list. Yeah. Liam, what are any, did they use yours?
I mean, yeah, the whole trunk thing, but even the Hickam stuff with the trunk in episode 9 was gold.
Yeah, the
forgot
problem
the trunk.
with listing Hickams is they're just these tiny, they're kind of like Ned's. They're these tiny moments in every scene,
Right.
literally in every scene. It's like, how do you capture those in a poll? But there you go.
Unbelievable. So our first 3, going from the third. That is what you guys talked about. Rosemary and Elizabeth track Lee into the forest, burning the beekeeper hats. So that was episode 3, written by Paul Redford. It was 256 votes.
Nice.
Okay.
That was on the third. The second place, Elizabeth gets a cold, then Nathan and Nathan as well, leading to Fever Dreams. That was the second one. Episode 6, written by Joy Gregory. 257 votes.
Squeaker.
One vote together.
One
apart.
vote difference. Yeah.
All right. First place, Bill and Rosemary groom Nathan to pose as Danny DeMarco.
That was good.
Of course.
That was so good.
Episode 5, written by Beth Stewart, 482 votes.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Away with
Winner.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm just
Runaway
curious,
victory.
when you were doing your writing, was there just a moment in season 12 that you just like guffawed, like you just laughed out loud when you're doing just
Crack yourselves up at your own jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find I laugh harder at the other writers' jokes, like when I read the scripts and they come
Yeah.
in, because they don't, not all the jokes come out in like the outlines or the beat sheets, and I feel like that's most enjoyable is like other writers' scripts, because then I'm just like surprised with, I know where the scene is going, but I don't always know all the jokes the first read, and yeah, Fever Dreams made me laugh when I read them.
Yeah. Yeah. The scout licking his face payoff of the fever dream. That was very
My favorite.
Oh,
Yeah.
buddy.
Favorite. Oh, that was priceless.
I do remember laughing out loud, and it was like late and we were under the gun. We were pretty stressed toward the end of the season. And when I read the final button that Lindsay wrote of the whole trunk scene, that it ended with, bye, Ava, off you go to make your life right. And then Hickam running out like, your trunk. I just love that. I love a good button.
It was so perfect for Ben too. He did a
Yeah.
great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that slap happy phase of, when you've been working a little too long. We run
Yes.
into that at HFR. It's when we
Yeah.
find ourselves particularly hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're always a funny
Yeah,
actor.
of course.
I love it.
Liam, what about you? Anytime you cracked yourself up or other writers cracked you up?
I mean, I was gonna say the Ben thing in the end of 9 too, because it's one thing to read it on the page, but then to watch his performance in the dailies
I know.
time after time after time, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
His timing is so great. But
He's very reliable. Yeah.
Yeah. Going forward with another storyline. Oliver was the gift we didn't know we needed. So can you tell us about how he was conceived and why he was introduced? Because we adore him.
It was a really exciting. I got very excited with this. This was Beth Stewart who first pitched the idea of it was just 2 words, Mountie Cadet. And we were just excited. Like in the room, we were like, oh, all of a sudden we were like, yes, yeah. And who is this Mountie Cadet going to be? But it really set us sort of aflutter with what that could be. But it was Joy, I'm going to pass it back to her, that sort of had that first idea to link our new Mountie cadet who became Oliver with Allie, and that's where I think gold was really
Oh,
struck.
wow. Yeah.
Wow, they were separate ideas. Interesting.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think we'd already been circling the idea of Wyatt, this guy who comes back into town who kind of captivates her. And then, well, gosh, let's do my first job was on a TV show called Felicity, which was just a love triangle for 4 whole seasons.
Oh,
So
yes.
I love, Ben or Noel, the kind of emotionally withholding bad boy, or the patient, good-hearted guy who actually sees and appreciates you. That's
Wow.
just classic. And we love bringing in new people who got banged up a little hard out there in a hard world, and they get healed by Hope Valley. So we loved doing some of that for Oliver. I'm not sure that I don't think we initially planned to make him a romantic interest, but then when we saw them together with Jada, it was right there. Yeah,
Did they do a chemistry read for that?
we did.
Okay.
Yeah, so we must have had romance in mind, because
We
we
had
did it.
some. We had some. You just came in the room early with it. Originally, we just talked Mountie
Yeah.
Cadet up on the wall. Mountie Cadet. We had a few days, and then it became romance, and we were unsure sort of until that chemistry read. That's sort of probably what you're remembering. That
Yeah.
we were like, let's see. Well, let's do a chemistry read, see how it plays. Maybe it'll just be Wyatt. Maybe it'll just be Oliver. Let's sort of see how it reads, and
Yeah.
the stories came pretty clear.
Oh,
Mhm.
interesting. So after the chemistry read, that was the direction that you did. Just seeing that.
Yeah, we must,
Oh,
if we
interesting.
did a chemistry read, we must have already decided we're going
Yeah.
to.
Right,
romance.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, we're returning to our extremely unscientific polling. Facebook, honestly, it's one feature that they just don't do a terribly good job at. So, like, half the time I look at the votes and Hearties are told they can only vote once, and I have to like call them out because they voted multiple times or added their own choices or whatever. So that's what I'm saying.
The wisdom
Extremely
flowing.
unscientific.
Okay.
But we also asked them to rate their top storylines of the season. In fourth and fifth place, separated by 2 votes, was Many coming to terms with Angela's graduation, all of the Schwartzman school, the beautiful quilt moment, her gorgeous sledding monologue, all that. Amazing. And then Lucas and Edie's blossoming friendship with their card playing and their calf roping and their dance and their sparring and the whole thing. Amazing. Okay, moving to third place. Do you have any guesses? This is for overall storylines, best
Right.
storylines of the season.
Yeah, I was gonna guess Rosemary and Bill working the Garrison train robbery case, and bringing in Melissa Gilbert into that, and that whole thread.
Okay.
That's my guess.
I think we broke it down a little more with Georgie and Bill, but in any case, yeah,
Okay.
those were choices. Yes.
Yeah.
My guess would maybe be Nathan's undercover, him moving into an undercover, because we had a couple hits of that, and each of them, for me, just I felt it was so delightful every time we talked
DeMarco,
about it.
yeah,
Because it
fantastic.
was him undercover, him with Rosemary, and then Elizabeth finally undercover with him, which was a bonus that led to that beautiful duet.
Nice. Okay, Liam, your turn.
I mean, we just talked about it. Allie and Oliver's budding romance is right up there, I think.
Ding, 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 ding. That's third place. Allie and
Oh.
Oliver's Friendship and Adventures, 273 votes. Second place, Hope Valley rallies around Little Jack. So, the insulin piece,
Yeah.
Power Pony, baseball game, prayer, everybody, organizing the clinic. That was 585 votes. And in first place, Elizabeth and Nathan's romance and the whole blended family emphasis. So, Allie getting to call Mrs. Thornton Elizabeth,
Oh
and
yeah.
Jack and, little Jack telling Nathan he's a hero too. All of those, the medal, all that piece sort of blended, not to mention riding through a barley field at sunset and going to parties and, all those things. So Congratulations.
Oh,
Those,
How much
great.
did that win by? The number
pardon
one.
me,
How much did that win by?
that was 1,076
Wow.
votes. Thank you
Wow.
for,
No
yeah,
contest.
that one ran away with it. More than 500 votes unscientifically. Some of them duplicate or who knows.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Moment in time.
we're going to go way back to the start because I'm just so fascinated by the fact that this season started right away, that you did no time jump. And, these small children, not to mention the teenagers that you have, these actors grow like weeds. So this was actually a pretty radical decision for a writer's room to make, to just kind of suspend reality and say, we're going to come right back, even though a year had passed in the lives of these child actors. You went with that. So talk to us about how you came to that decision.
Well, it was primarily a necessity because of the final beat of season 11. We had to do a direct pickup. We did start out the season thinking, oh, let's build in a time jump somewhere in the middle. I can't remember which two episodes we originally talked about, jumping from the end of, the beginning of winter to spring. I mean, we don't choose to shoot winter, so we knew we had to jump over the winter, and we had planned it for like 2/3 of the way through the season. And then, just as often happens, you start dialing in the stories and it just feels wrong. Like, no, no, we don't want to. We talked about it quite late into the process. And then when we thought, oh, let's do it after the difficulty of episode 11, let's then skip forward so we don't have to do the immediate aftermath of the diabetes diagnosis, the struggle to get access to insulin. And it allowed us to jump forward and be in a season of hope and renewal, and to take a breath and just offer some healing and gentleness of springtime after that.
Yeah, it's super interesting because, like, the season before, they dealt with, Lucas's shooting with the flashbacks. So, that would have been one way to do it. Is
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, we didn't, we never seriously considered it, did we?
yeah,
We
We
always
didn't
did.
because
Yeah.
we started talking and there's just moments we couldn't miss. Like one of them, for example, was little Jack starting school in Elizabeth's classroom, where like there were
yes,
just so many moments that sort of had to play
yes.
consecutively that we were like, we can't service this in a flashback. We kind of have to just play it through.
Right.
Yeah, and did you know, based on what you were outlining, did you know from the outset that you were not going to that this wasn't going to be a proposal time, that Nathan was not going to propose? So, I mean, I think that's one thing that's interesting is Hearties want to fast forward to that rig, but then, I mean, what was so amazing was we got to see the initial parts of their relationship, and had
Yeah,
you,
Absolutely.
so
exactly.
did
Yeah.
that enter into?
That was really enticing to show these, I loved getting to know Nathan through Beth's writing. She writes him so well, and she kind of like named for me like he's very Canadian. Uh, so it was just too enticing to see how does this very Canadian Mountie start to open himself up to this woman and build this increasing intimacy and courtship with her. And we didn't want to skip any of that. It
Yeah.
was that's the gold.
So Heartie Maria, oh dear.
Turco, I'm just guessing.
Devereaux of Sedalia, Missouri. I'm
You
so
got it.
sorry, Maria. But I'm glad that you asked your question. Complained earlier in the season that it felt too lighthearted, even silly, and now she wants to take her comment back. She said, I quote, I now appreciate the reason and the ending more than made up for the depth of feeling I was looking for. Talk to us about the mix of light and heavy and how you pace this season for season 12. And because it's been kind of different in a lot of ways for other previous seasons for When Calls the Heart.
I would like to say that we consciously tilted toward comedy in the first third or half of the season because we knew we were going to really kind of pull out all the stops with the diabetes and insulin story toward the end. But I think, but that I don't think that was our conversation looking back. I think that,
Wow.
but I think in a larger sense, we knew that we had just done a big investigation story in 11 about who shot Lucas.
Right.
And you don't want to do in sequence too much of a direct physical threat to a member of our inner circle. We don't want to bring too much danger to Hope Valley. And so it felt right that our National Treasure investigation would be a bit more of a caper, and the elements of danger and threat would come in with the garrisons, but kind of just in one episode or two. And so the caper like nature of the investigation, that it's just about like where did this gold coin come from at the Merc, I think did perhaps remove some of the more dramatic drive of seasons past. But yes, but we do still, hope in every episode we have romance and emotion and some drama, but not necessarily from the investigation this season.
Sure. Well, I do love the mysteries. Even with Lucas, season 11 and
Yeah.
season 12, this for the coin. I mean, to me, that's just interesting to have a red thread throughout the whole season. And you don't really know until you get this finale, and then we have a map, and we're looking at a waterfall. What a waterfall! No, water. What is
Well,
it?
Wishing
wishing
well.
That's it. Well,
Yes.
so in season 12, Sanuta Groth of Jacksonville says she loved all the gorgeous natural beauty, stunning vistas, the horseback riding, and the outdoor classrooms and trails. So lots of outdoor kind of scenery for season 12. Was this part of your plan for as you were kind of developing season 12 to have a lot of nature in there?
It was intentional. We had a couple of talks early on, both from the executive side of things and the production side, and Lindsay and Mike Roll really spearheaded it. I remember we went on a big walkthrough before. I live really close to set, so I was invited over, and we did a walkthrough early on before we started shooting, before they had even like really fully set up the set. And we did a big walkthrough of like, what this set is so beautiful, the location's so beautiful. What are some things we could just do with it that we haven't seen before that can just expand the world? So it was like a conscious decision from the word go, really, this season.
Wow.
All the months he had sunshine, or a little bit of sunshine anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
We take advantage when we have it up here. Yeah.
And
There's a
it's
reason we
one
don't
of
shoot
the
in winter.
oh, sorry, Liam, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, I was just saying there's a reason we don't shoot in winter.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But also that initiative of Lindsay partnering with Mike Roll comes from one of Lindsay's many strengths that she brought to as a showrunner. She started out in filmmaking as an editor. She thinks a bit more like a director than certainly I do, and many showrunners that I've worked for. And I remember her telling me that she had really decided with Mike to create more street traffic, more life of the street in the background, more flowers on the street and in window boxes. She just wanted to fill the frame with a little more life. And you really feel that, whether consciously or unconsciously.
Oh, definitely. Well, interesting, because that just goes to our next question about the production and the things that you did. Oh my gosh, we're talking about maybe what, 6 new sets for season 12?
I don't know the count. Yeah, but
Lucas's office in Capital City, the train, the marquee, the party,
Yeah.
Schwartzman School. It seemed like
All
there
of
was
that.
one more too.
Yeah, no, so good. And Sarah Maberly, oh my goodness. I mean, she
Incredible.
really outdid herself.
Yeah.
We had a chat with her, and all the details, and
I
you
know.
the things that they had to hide because you're in the church for that whole scene with
Isn't that incredible?
the Demarc. I mean, truly extraordinary. I mean, it's interesting. My favorite was the marquee. I told her
Yeah.
about that.
Oh my
For like a
gosh, so
while.
much detail. And
I
she
don't
said there
remember
was like, what didn't she say there was like stained glass that we didn't
yeah,
see,
it's
the
just
party scene and
all the things that was extraordinary. But so Kristen Lehman outdid herself as well, delivering the spectacular 1920s party scene. For all of us, this has been an unprecedented season. I mean, congratulations. Just
Thank you. It was ambitious, and we have such an incredible team.
Yeah. And also, when we get to expand the world or open it up a little bit, when we're able, I mean, we're all for that too. And the art department led by Sarah, our game, as you've seen.
yeah,
seriously.
Yeah.
The train car was my favorite.
The
Oh,
train
You know,
car
So
is
cool.
amazing.
the train car. And that was in the saloon, which is amazing.
Yeah, I know. My jaw fell open the first time I saw the dailies of the mansion party. I could not recognize the schoolhouse in that.
and we usually know. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's the one thing. It was just like, did they go outside of Hope Valley? I mean, and if some of us that are seasoned and we're seeing it,
If
yeah,
we can't figure it out, yeah.
Yeah.
it was good,
Yeah.
so good.
I know, and the tracking shot that she did following the hero dancer through the whole party and the confetti toss up to the camera. It was so beautifully shot by Kristen, and yeah, Sarah and her team just outdid themselves on that party.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
good. Like the first time I saw that footage, I really everything I know about the show from behind the scenes out the window. I just watched it like a Heartie. Like I was
Yeah.
just,
Oh, I
it
love
really
it.
captured me.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing. So I think we heard you reference, Joy, that Ava was brought in to Hope Valley to sort of bring in a little bit of that 20s flavor.
Mhm.
I think as much as Hearties adored the scene we just talked about in terms of the duet and the DeMarco caper, they also they want to keep Hope Valley like a little behind the times. They still love the horses. They still love the rural small town feeling of it. So what are the challenges of this mix for you all, and how do you counteract Hope Valley feeling too modern?
Yeah, coming on in season 12, I got a sort of quick overview of the whole season, and I could see a commonality of the theme of there's change happening in the outside world. Change is coming to Hope Valley. How will we deal with, this new initiative and this new outsider? And will it change who we are? And the answer is always fundamentally no. And we'll learn more about ourselves by dealing with the threat of this change. And we'll come out stronger and more sure of who we are and confirmed in our values. So, like, one of the show's central themes for me is how can community protect and support us in a changing world? And we're storytellers, so you got to throw some conflict and some drama and some challenge to reaffirm what we come home to. We'll always come home to Hope Valley.
Editor's note: Joy just said, we always come home to Hope Valley. And this was a moment that we wanted to remind you, Hearties, that the Hearties Family Reunion 2025, the theme is Come Home to Hope Valley. It was a perfect phrase, and so we wanted to point this out. Please save the date, September 12th through the 14th, 2025. Hope we see you there. And now back to the show.
We'll always come home to Hope Valley.
Very nice. Any others want to comment?
Allie had some good thoughts on
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I think too, like some of the, yes, like we want Hope Valley's always going to be Hope Valley. It's exactly what Joy said. It's a community that just exists. But I do think that some of these changes in bringing modernness to town can open up new stories. But well, my example would be the telephone and then the radio. Like there are ways with some of this new tech and new modern things, modern that would be coming at the time, that can bring just a fun value to the community, and we can tell stories within Hope Valley, but using that new tech as it comes.
The fever dreams certainly stretched the show too in a way that I don't think we had necessarily seen before, both comedically and romantically. Talk to us about that dynamic that Brian Bird referenced last week between the desire to, the importance of staying true to your values of the show, but also seeing these stories with fresh eyes. Like, how do you balance those things?
Well, I was delighted to learn early on that the idea of cold medicine as a way to bring a kind of mind-altering substance into our very sweet world had been in the air for a couple of seasons. This had been an idea that had been pitched for a couple of seasons. It is an irresistible device to get Elizabeth to sort of crack open Elizabeth Thornton's psyche and see what's in there.
Right.
And it turns out our novelist has a kind of overheated romance novel in there, like a kind of melodrama. And it was such a playful, fun way to get a glimpse of, her unconscious in some way. And then I also found it irresistible that, after seeing Elizabeth's romance novel Fever Dreams, when we answer it with like Nathan's interior psychic landscape, he's like lost in the laundry. But which is a joke, but also legitimately, I loved that kind of illuminated Nathan's quest to kind of, through his connection to Elizabeth, find a deeper connection with himself. They say in the dream everyone do. And until of course Scout licks your face.
Right. Yes. Yeah. In every dream, there's probably a little kernel of truth in there. That's very interesting. That, yeah, Nathan's is about laundry. Very cool. Well, I think it was really fun, and we did a video with the other admins talking about the fever dreams, and while on the air, looked up what was actually in the cough medicine, and yeah, mind altering would definitely cover it. Yeah.
Yep.
And the Facebook group is frequently posted, the mores of the time for school teachers, which fortunately, When Calls the Heart does not hew to those, because she would basically not be able to do anything. But she has to be, she can't have a drink too often. And so this was a funny way of loosening that up. It was very fun. Yeah.
Irresistible.
Yeah, very good. All right. One of the things that I think has come up this season is the whole issue of deleted scenes. Talk to us about the writing process, why scenes are deleted, the approvals you have to go through. Give us some insights about that.
Yeah, I was chatting with Allie about this in anticipation of this question, and we were able to remember quite a few story ideas that came from not directly from the writer's room. That, in fact, it was Aaron, I believe, who was saying, "What about cold medicine? Wouldn't that be a fun device to play with?" Aaron and Kevin suggested specific scenes that played like gangbusters last season. I've talked about them before, the moment of Nathan breaking down to Bill. So we get outside notes all the time. And building a series it's a collaboration and a collective effort. It takes a village. And one saying that I heard early on in my time writing series television is that any kind of filmed story is written 3 times. It's written in the script. It's written a second time when you shoot it, right? Because the actors are making choices. They're illuminating the dialogue in a perhaps unexpected way. All the choices the director makes, that kind of shapes the story. And then it's written a third time, and a very important time, in editing. Editing is when you respond to what's there. You find out, how did this scene play? Is it right? Does it push the story forward? And frequently things get sacrificed that you would have thought were essential. And it turns out the story plays without it. So editing makes choices, and we all weigh in on the edit. No one's taking anything away from us that we wish we could have saved. And so, for instance, we had a story about Henry being a grandfather, and it was just going to be a small runner in the finale, but we were just trying to put bows on everybody's story, and choices had to be made. Oh, we can't give up Allie and Angela saying goodbye. They have to say goodbye on screen. So we gave everybody their beautiful swan song, and then we did not have room for all of it. So we chose ultimately to pull out this runner about Henry getting the news in a letter that Rachel and Christopher had a child. And ultimately, I'm glad we did that. I'm certainly sorry that we lost Martin's beautiful work in those scenes, and that's always regrettable. But ultimately, in sacrificing that story, we realized we've gained something great here, which is we're not denying Hearties the on-screen experience of Christopher finally proposing to Rachel, finally marrying her, becoming a parent. We don't want to dispose of all of that value in a letter that he receives from off-screen action. So, these are the kinds of things you just discover as the story reveals itself.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited that is a possibility. That's cool. Yeah. And talk to us a little bit about, like, we know that Jeanette Oak is still involved as a consultant. We know that Hallmark has notes. Like, give us a little sense of that. Like, they have to approve things before it goes into the script, but then also they probably see some of the footage and then make
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every step of the way, we start with something called a story arena, which is just a paragraph or two about the A story, the B story, and the C story. And that goes through everybody. Everybody's eyeballs is on that. And they say
all the producers, all
yes, all
the
the network execs, and we really rely on everyone's sense of what works on the show. I'm new to the show. I need everybody around me saying, like, this feels like the show and this doesn't. One small example, I had Allie really standing up for what she believed in a way that I just got the feedback, like, she's a little too strong. It sounds like she's not respecting her elders, and we just don't do that on this show. And I was like, point taken. Let me be within the tonal spectrum of the show. Let me honor and respect that.
I know over the years, Hallmark, that they're very careful about how animals are treated too.
Yeah, absolutely. There are various sensitivities, and everyone around us is protective of the stories, is weighing in on the stories, and shepherding the stories. And so we have the story arena, we get eyeballs. We have an outline, we get feedback from everybody, and then we have scripts. And it takes a village to know what's right for the show, what is within the brand of the show, what we feel the Hearties are going to respond to and love and cherish, and are we giving them enough? Erin's like a cook. It's like a cook tasting it and going, like, it's really good, it's just missing that little something, and she'll pitch exactly that.
Oh wow, it's the oregano, or it's the whatever. Wow, that's cool. Okay,
interesting. Wow. Well, we're gonna talk about Lucas Bouchard because he's one of my favorites. But so I think we want him to be in the office enough to have a contribution, but we want him in Hope Valley. So can you talk about maybe what's in store for him?
Well, I don't want to get too specific, because I certainly wouldn't want to spoil the pleasure of discovering the great fun we have in store for Lucas. I love what we're planning for him. I'm so excited. He is not going anywhere. He's an essential part of Hope Valley. And we're going to bring him back and weave him into the life of the town in personal and professional ways that are going to be really satisfying.
Okay. All
I'm,
right. Well,
I'm so excited. I love Lucas too. I just have to say it's completely magical. It's really fun.
he's so good.
Whoa.
And the with Miranda,
Yeah.
Edie.
Yes.
Love them. Love them.
Yes. Yes.
So, and you also just talked about Henry, and so because we were kind of missing him
Mhm.
this season, so I know because and what you just talked about. I mean, it's the cast size, it's the editing, everything else, but Hearties want more of those stories. So, can we anticipate that?
Oh yeah, we've got something really nice cooking for Henry. I'm very excited about it. It and I like that we're now officially moving him forward from what I think Martin would also agree with us was like a long period of atonement. Now
Yes,
now we're feeling
It's
like
so
he's
true.
atoned. Let's let
he
him
is
move.
atoned.
Yes.
Yes, agreed. Yes.
Yes.
Thinking, I have to say too, I'm so excited with what we're doing with Henry. It's really fun. We spent a lot of time talking about it so far in the last 6 weeks, and I'm really excited about the story. And I know he wasn't as prominent in season 12, but it just felt like we needed to spend some time with him at peace. Like he's been through a lot of turmoil. He's been through a lot, probably the most in Hope Valley, second maybe only to Elizabeth.
Yes.
So we needed to find some time of him in true peace so we could get him to where we need him to be for this story that's coming in season 13.
Oh,
Hmm.
tantalizing. I love it. Very good.
Mhm.
Well, I don't want to skip over mentioning that Allie Devereaux was responsible for the calf roping episode, right? Correct.
You're welcome.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, baby animals are always my pitch. So,
Good job. Good job. I love it.
Okay, well, it was quite genius. Really, that was your pitch? Was a baby animal, Lucas with the baby animal?
they need to get outside. We need to see them together. We want them out in the open
Definitely.
air. And it's like, what's the best way to just get them out of the comfort zone? And I'm like, what if it's a baby cow? Okay, they're ranchers. I admittedly don't know much about ranching, but I know that ranching means that there's cows, which means there's a baby cow.
You know
And
your
I thought,
Hallmark hunks, though, Allie Devereaux. I mean,
I do.
last year we had the shirtless Mountie in your episode, and this year the calf roping. I mean,
They lassoed. I did not know if lassoing was going to go in. I think even when we were talking about it, I was like, can we get as far as he lassos the baby cow? Can we get there? And they're like, put it in. So
Yeah.
I did.
And they
fantastic.
said it was one take. It was good.
I heard
Fantastic.
Oh, I missed that. I didn't
Yeah,
watch.
And there
I
was a
think you've
great video.
introduced a whole new genre. We used to be obsessed with the wood chopping, and now it's the
Calf
The roping and the hair
ranching.
glory.
Yeah.
Yes.
so good, so good. I just found the challenge of Fiona's storyline kind of amazing because she was only there for a short time, but you had to give her something substantial enough. So walk me through that, because when did you find out that she was going to be available? Because I remember when we talked to Lindsay that they weren't sure that she was going to be available. So to me, that I think you handled it so well, and I think it was such a beautiful little storyline. So talk to us about how that came to be.
I loved what we did with her too, and when I was rewatching the season, when you get some distance from it, you're not just watching like, oh boy, I remember when we kind of had figured out some stories and then we had to change things to fit Fiona because Kayla became available and we love her and we knew it was going to be so great for the fans to have her back. We were so happy to have her back, but the news did come in a little bit late, and 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 so seeing it again with some distance from the struggle of that at first, I really admired, like, yeah, we did find a nice little contained arc for her that she came in, and Kayla's such a beautiful actor. I was saying when I was looking at dailies, like, no one does smiling through tears like Kayla.
Mhm.
And you sense that she was this beautiful, strong, capable woman who had just taken some knocks and had decided, I can do more if I'm married, which doesn't sound like the Kayla, the Fiona that we met. And yet I loved honoring that could be a realistic arc for this character, that, the early 20s, there are limitations and there are realities, and she collided with some of them. And then of course giving her a Hope Valley launch through her radio innovations with Rosemary, that kind of like reconfirmed her commitment to her values and renewed her journey on an independent path. I just thought it worked really well, and it had human moments. I was really pleased with what we did.
Well, we talked a lot last week about the incredible ending of the insulin story, and the leaving for Cape Fullerton, and how stunning that was. But there just was a lot of truly gifted work that happened in season 12. So Dawn, did you have a favorite piece of writing from the season? I'm surprising you, putting you on the spot.
I know, goodness,
sorry.
there's so much.
I know.
I think the devastation of I said episode 11, or even episode 10, when Elizabeth, just the curdle of her scream, which is so like season 5. It's just hearkening to like the history of Hope Valley. And even though it was a tragic situation, but I love that episode, I think, was the best that I've seen personally. It just bubbled up like, the cream, top of the cream. It was just really good. So the whole episode was unbelievable. So I think that would be the moment. And even though it's tragic, and if it's, and there's some light spaces in between. And so it was really brilliantly kind of structured for that particular episode. But yeah, it was so good. So good.
So good. Yeah, mine are, I can't choose between them. All 3 of Minnie's monologues, I thought, were perfection. They just were so well written, so well developed. Natasha herself said, especially with the one with Rosemary and the one with Elizabeth, that it could have come across as the same kind of message, and each one it was distinct. I thought her performance was exceptional, but the words themselves, and the image, the metaphor of the sledding in the one with Angela, and then just the faith messages in them were just very poetic, very beautiful, stirring. Liam, let's start with you. What was your favorite writing of the season?
I mean, I have to go back to what you mentioned on episode 11. I'm so pleased and thrilled with how that episode turned out. The baseball sequence, it gets me every time. I know what happens in the script. I know what happens on screen, and still, it's just a delight to watch. And the letter that Elizabeth writes to the insulin clinic is just, it's perfection.
So good.
Joy?
I loved that letter also. For me, all of the journaling is the stuff that I love to write. It's always a challenge to make it new. I was like, because again, it was my first season on the show, so I start out typing like, "Spring is here and it brings hope," and I thought, how many times has that line been in Elizabeth's journaling? Let me go back. But I love any opportunity to sort of like, I probably was a preacher in a former life. Any moment is like, let's step back and say something to summarize what we've all been through here together. And I also love heartache. I've written for a lot of teen shows, so perversely, Allie just getting thrown aside by Wyatt, who's like, "You're not for me, kid." And then the way Jada played, like turning around and just crumpling, like, I don't know why I love that. I guess I'm still traumatized by all the times I got my heart broken, and it like, I get to control it this time because I'm typing it.
Well,
Nice.
And Molly was the one that was the sympathetic person to, understand what was going on too. So,
Yeah.
so good.
Good.
Brilliant.
All right, Allie, the most beautiful part of the writing in season 12.
For me, it's a little more personal. I was really excited that we could share some stories with the realities of chronic illness and disability. And I mean, still keeping the story surrounded by the warmth and community that we see in all Hope Valley stories. But I have spoken about this before. The story shared by Angela this season, it was really extra special to me because it was inspired by my own sister who's disabled and her journey with disability and chronic illness and finding community in that, and how there's like an extra level of strength and healing that comes from finding your people. So when I finally saw and read the scenes in Schwartzman School and got to just see that community sort of coming to life and showing that, it was just really special to me and my family.
And it's so interesting with your personal journeys as writers, just to kind of infuse stuff that speaks to you. So I think that's part of that passion that we enjoy, but nobody knows. I mean, truly, how.
Except for that monkey. That monkey knows.
Monkey knows.
Oh dear goodness. Okay, so we've covered a bunch of stuff already. So we had some comments from the Facebook page that kind of summarized what the Hearties were talking about. And so there's some quotes here, and there's talk about what was fulfilled in season 12. So one was more teaching and classroom moments. 3 generations of Mounties with Bill, Nathan, and Oliver. Incredible cinematography, and that was from Lisa Wilmingson from Great Britain.
Across the pond. Wow.
Yeah. Molly and Jed's romance. Blended family moments galore. Elizabeth and Allie growing closer. Nathan and little Jack growing closer while honoring Jack's memory. And that was so, oh man, that was so good. But I love it that the medal, like, that was was that the one or first scene or second
one.
scene,
Yeah.
like that. I'm just like, I love that. But that was from Donna Limerick Shorts, Texas.
I'm
And
guessing
then being
shirts.
true to the time period with radio, insulin, and that was Judy Lynn Crocker King of Virginia. Duet and singing. People have been talking about that for how many seasons? So that was good. Featuring the young actors on the show and the graduation of one of our child actors who has been with us from season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. Bill and Georgie, their big kiss.
Yeah.
Angela touring the School of the Blind, the Circle of Prayer for little Jack, the scene between Nathan and Bill, perfect storm of writing, directing, and stellar acting. That was a comment from Brian Shively of Lake Havasu, Arizona. And the Charleston and all the dancing. And that was Anna Mercier of Puerto Rico. So you guys did a lot in 12 episodes.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Amazing. So I do you guys start with when you start the brainstorming process, do you start with the Hearties wish list? I mean, do you because
I did go back and look at we started season 13 with kind of overall season arcs, and I wanted to refer to older ones, and I looked at our season 12 one, and it did have at the bottom just like, here are some ideas for romantic moments and images. So we do bank. It's so helpful. Sometimes you get caught up in creating the ABCD of a story, and sometimes it's really useful to say, let's just think of an image we want to see, and we'll figure out how to make it happen. Like,
wow,
I wanna
okay, yeah.
see Lucas with a baby animal. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, last season we did do that. In fact, I'm reading this list going now, like, should we create more of a menu of like delicious moments and images? Like, we might be talking about this on Monday.
Like a buffet.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It's
love it.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of list making, and you have to make a list of fresh things that we've never seen before too. And
Right.
and for goodness sake, some of these things, like the scene between Nathan and Bill, like that was nothing that we've asked for, but man, did we want to see that, And Mountie Cadet, that wouldn't have been in our wildest imaginations, but bring it on, I mean, people had been wanting an Allie love story for a little while. That's true, but wouldn't have dreamed of a Mountie Cadet. So that's cool. So going into season 13, you all are joined in the writer's room with some new faces and voices. Would you like to share a little bit about your team, Joy?
Sure, absolutely. I worked with Lindsay Sturman on a show called Joan of Arcadia, and that show is also where I met David Gray. It was very early in both of our careers, and we then worked again together on Madam Secretary for all 6 seasons. He was actually my superior on Madam Secretary, and now I am his boss, technically.
That's so cool.
He's very much just a colleague and a friend. And he brings just a breadth of expertise that apply to our show. He's written on great procedurals. Of course, Madam Secretary had a sort of procedural element. And he's also written on great family and romance shows like Gilmore Girls, but also a lighthearted procedural like Castle. Gina and so yeah, so David is anchoring our new staff along with our other upper level writers, a wonderful writing team who I was just introduced to. It was an embarrassment actually last season. Our writer's assistant kept saying, "It's time for your meeting with Gina Gold and Aurora Koo." And I was like, "Oh my God, I don't have time to meet with people for next season. We've got to put out fires in this season." And finally I read their script and met with them and was like, "Oh, well, great. You're just in. You're fantastic." We talked about theater the whole time. They're both wonderful playwrights. Well, I know Aurora is a playwright. I'm forgetting Gina's specific theater background, but they wrote on a show called All Rise, which was a really wonderful relationship as well as much as law procedural show. And they're bringing fantastic skills. They're so good at all of the character moments, as well as the number one thing people say in meetings that makes me go, "Oh, I need you," is, "Oh, I'm good with the investigation beats and the case beats," because I feel like I can write relationship scenes all day, but I don't have puzzle brain, and they're really great at that too. I have, of course, Liam and Allie, my OG folks, who I'm so grateful every day to have them, not only to, of course, support me with their breadth of knowledge of the show, but all of the heart and the wonderful character work and story ideas that they bring every day. And Lindsay brought in a young, fresh out of NYU guy named Max Rosenblum, who joined us to help us put the scripts together. It's called script coordinator. It's a very important person, and but it's not a writer. And he was also helping us out with story. And I read his writing, and I just thought he was terrific, and so I promoted him to staff writer. So he's our
Wow.
hub reporter this year.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's my
Fantastic.
team. It's a great team. I'm super lucky.
Very cool. Okay.
Okay.
And Liam and Allie are bringing sort of that, because I know how important consistency is on a show that's been on this long. And obviously, Joy, you've been here now too. You're going into your second season, but just say a little word about that, about consistency.
Oh, I mean, I've never written on the 13th season of a show. The longest show I've ever written on went for 6 seasons, and I was there I started late in season 1, so I never I lived through everything. And here, like every hour at least, I refer to Allie and Liam, like, "Oh, so what have we established, and remind me." And I feel like Allie has like an entire encyclopedia of the show instantly at her fingertips.
Yes, yes,
I
she
dream
does.
about Hope Valley. I do.
Yes.
It's in my dreams. Sometimes I think I spend more time there than actually in reality.
Yes.
Indeed.
And I also am grateful to have right away, the moment we start thinking of a story, someone is there, Allie and Liam, to tell me, how does this fit with the history of the show? Because if they don't guide me early, I could get rather far down the road. And then our wonderful Erin, she deeply knows the show, and she'll say, this just feels too similar to something that we've done before. And it's hard to get that note when you've already conceived of it. So they save me every day from running into those rocks.
We don't want to have everything be Easter eggs. There's got to be a freshness, and
Exactly.
so it's the balance there.
Right.
So
It's
that's really
surprising, but also building. You want to build.
right,
Like
of
sometimes
course.
stories come up and it gets exciting because you start to think, oh, wow, because in season 4, there was this, which is just going to build in this amazing, beautiful way. And then you just get to be excited about it. So, yeah, sometimes it's fun. And then sometimes it's just about saying, oh, I think we need to keep it a little fresher than this.
Well, we're we can't even say very excited doesn't even begin to contain how we feel about season 13 and everything we're looking forward to seeing. But we also do hear some names not being on that list, and so we want to acknowledge and honor the work, in particular of Derek and Beth, who were with the show for a very, very long time, as well as Lindsay, Paul, and Tunette. And so we're going to have an opportunity to do that with the Hearties on our next Valley Voice editorial, talk about how dear those folks are to us, and I know to you as well.
Oh, me as well. And we're
Yeah.
still working with Tunette.
Oh, very good. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good to hear. Okay, great. So, but in closing, we do want to just thank you all, the season 12 writing team: Beth, Derek, Paul, Lindsay, Tunette, Liam, Allie, and Joy. Did I miss anybody? I hope not. Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, good. You introduced us to more characters that we cannot live without. You took us to the Schwartzman School and wrapped us in a quilt of Braille embroidery. You took us to a baseball game, a radio play, a talking picture, a wishing well, and to a barley field at sunset. You issued a devastating diagnosis and thrilled us with the blessing of a medical miracle, a united community, and a blended family. You made us dance, you made us cry, and you made our hearts soar. Thank you so much, not just for writing, but also for being with us on a Friday night, very late after you've been working, and the weeks before. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you for coming on the journey with us this year and every year. Like, I think this is my 5th year with you guys. It's just been so fun and awesome. And just like you guys, we're Hearties too. So we're so excited for the stories to come, and just it's fun, just even though we can't say anything, kind of talking about them with you.
Yeah, totally, totally. Well, good. We always love it when we talk to the directors and they're like, this kind of energized me. Like I feel like filled up. Like, it's good if we can continue this exchange and bring you energy for the long haul, because, Alfonso said, in you used the metaphor of laying the track 5 feet in the train. He used the Lego movie where you throw the Legos up in the air and a bridge appears, like in the Lego movie. And that's very, very hard work and grueling. So we're glad that Heartie's excitement and examination of every detail can fill you guys up. And
Oh yeah, I mean, you guys are everything. I launched the writers' room with an idea. I told them on day 1, this is the most theater major thing I will ever do for you, but I had everybody close their eyes and imagine someone who needs to watch our show, and they're settling down and think about what's going on in their life. Why do they need the show? What does the show do for them? Who are they? Tell me something surprising about them. Give them a name. And just said, everything we're going to do, all these hours in this room is for them. We're just trying to create pleasure and relief and togetherness and community and love for an hour once a week. And it's just an honor to be able to work with these great people doing that for all of you.
Well, Hearties, I know that you have more ideas for season 13. So comment below and make sure that you subscribe the YouTube channel and the podcast platforms. And we have more content. It's just like, oh, we're
more
gonna
interviews, more chats.
Yeah, my goodness. So anyway, we're just always curious about what you're thinking as well. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time in Heart to Hearties.